Hello and welcome to Halcyon Blink. My name's Lorne Risey, I'll be your host for this episode. And in this edition, I'm going to be talking about WWE Table for 3. I like this show. It seems to have some type of very vague connection to the Ride-Along series, but only in the sense that it's WWE superstars supposedly out of character. The difference though is that I find that the setting and the time that clearly they're afforded in terms of being able to recount stories and put people together of a certain theme means that you get a more cohesive and overall more enjoyable storytelling experience, because that's effectively what it amounts to. They regale tales and they'll be nostalgic and they will give their opinions on some of the more current topics, but they won't necessarily focus on certain aspects that are slightly more benign, like in Ride Along, for instance, like the food that they eat or what they're seeing as they're driving along. Particular favourite episodes include Team Ek. I thought that was a really funny episode because, again, the genuine chemistry between Edge and Christian, along with Kurt Angle, who is in real life one of their best friends, was apparent, and it was fun, and it was enjoyable to watch. You also have the creative committee where you have Michael P.S. Hayes, Eric Bischoff, and Jim Cornette, all having these rather intriguing encounter that threatened to become a little bit more heated at times, but clearly because of the format of the show, they're not aiming for conflict. They're actually aiming for something more harmonious in terms of its delivery. If I was to recommend this to wrestling fans, I would say it's certainly worth a watch if you're looking at the genuine opinions of some of their stars, because there's certain instances, like in the creative committee, for instance, where they touch on the Roman Reigns issue. Other times, it's just an interesting insight into some of their lives. The Three Kings, I believe it's called, or Kings of the Rings, with Wade Barrett, William Regal and Sheamus was a really fun episode because it's quintessentially British in the way it's approached, especially down to the way that you can watch all of them say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for the way their food's brought in, whereas most of the Yanks don't really say thank you. It's a kind of an interesting insight into the different cultures. But I also think that in terms of the conversations that they tend to be more deep, they seem to have a bit more nuance, and they have some degree of point to them, and they seem genuinely happy to be with one another enjoying the meal. As a rating out of 10, if I'm going to give it as far as the WWE Network show is concerned, I would give it a 6 or a 7. I'd lean more towards a 6, but a good episode is a decent 7. It's only half an hour, so it's not that hard to watch or digest, but at the same time, there's nothing immensely funny about it. There's just some very good stories that occasionally have some good punchlines and some nice moments. In terms of a non-wrestling fan, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this one because it has very little to do with anything else but the wrestling. There's not a lot of insight beyond that, so I wouldn't waste your time with it if I was you. So thanks very much for watching this episode of Halcyon Blink. Please like, share, subscribe. Check out some of the other content creators in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, and as always, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.
Look in